This is a world of darkness. It's a world not unlike our own. It's a world that is a bit darker, and this is a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition chronicle. It is produced by Paradox Entertainment, and we will have links for that when we upload everything to YouTube. This is the 13th episode. It is our season finale, and it is entitled Final Boss. And I had to throw the question mark in there. This is basically our home chronicle, so it is there might be a couple of sides here and there. We're going to try to keep it down for the charity. And as a warning, this is a mature game. There will be mature themes and talks of potentially unsettling concepts and situations. The players, well, we don't really have the throwing dice for throwing anymore, so we can't really say that. They can mute if they want. If you need a break from any of the things that are going on, if it gets too bloody for you, or if there's too much valid descriptions of unsettling scenes, take a break, step away from the feed, do what you need to do. We will have it uploaded to a VOD and a YouTube link as well later on. So just come back whenever you feel comfortable. And we are trying, some of us are monitoring the chat. We have monitors there. Talk to one of them if you want. And we have a bunch of giveaways for these two awesome charities. So donate if you can. If you can't, help spread the word, help get the word out, help get a few extra people in there. And we are going to open our first scene with the Prince, who is going to be played by Shane Easton. Initially, we started off with a coterie of kindred who will be showing up at a dramatically appropriate moment for our feed this evening. And that's a little shout out to Jason Carl. Hey, Jason, I see you in the chat. We have zoomed in at one point to a bunch of Thin Bloods who will also be showing up at a dramatically appropriate moment during our feed. But tonight, we're going to start off on the macro. For all of those of you who are new to the world of darkness, vampires have various different means of controlling cities and organizing themselves, one of which is the Camarilla. The Camarilla is controlled by princes and the Primogen Council. We are going to open our scene this evening with the most powerful kindred in the city of Vancouver, the Prince, who is Prince Bastian, who is just arriving at the Vancouver Art Gallery, and she is having a conversation with someone on the phone.
So tell me what happened. They took Surrey? No. It's going outside of the borders. Was anything destroyed? All right, I'm walking into my council now. All right. Thank you. Bye.
And she walks down the hallway underneath the Vancouver Art Gallery towards a chamber that has been set aside through various donations of very powerful means into a room that contains the rest of the Primogen Council, who have been waiting on her because she's running a little bit late. We have B. Dave Walters as the La Sombra Primogen Huzun. We also have Omega Jones as the Toreador Primogen, Alaric Coleman. We have Tanya DePass, who is the Bruja Primogen, Sienna Fouché. And we have Kelly Butler, the Tremere Primogen, Lucia Torvalenga. And I probably butchered that, but that's okay because I will be playing in this particular scene the Venture Primogen, Victor Davenport.
Alaric, darling, you are a sight for sore eyes in this moment.
You know how I like to be, my prince.
How are you, my dear?
Surviving, for lack of a better word. I've been working a little bit on your gift. It'll be ready soon.
My official portrait.
You know, the best work take a little bit of time, and for someone like you, I need to make sure that you have all the time in the world.
Well, I am such a fan of yours, my friend. I can't wait to see it. I'm sorry, my counsel. I'm late. We need to talk. You see, I would like to talk to you about happiness. There are two forms of thought about happiness. One being that happiness is a state of mind. Hazoon, do you think being what we are, that we have minds?
With respect, my prince, happiness can only be found in living in accordance with the will of the Dark Father. But I have a mind that allows me to interpret the holy writings, so yes.
I see. Another form of thought is that happiness comes from a life that is lived well. Sienna, would you call what we have a life?
With respect, my prince, we ceased to have a life whenever we were embraced. This is existing and what some mortals may want for a life, but it is what it is.
Well, I do have to find some worth in my existence. But right now I find that I'm unhappy because the anarchs have taken Surrey.
I thought they were waiting for Christopher Summers.
Well, apparently not. And they're expanding beyond the borders, and they're moving into our domain, have moved into our domain, and I have provided a set of rules to strictly be followed, and they break every single one of them. I cannot have this.
My prince, does this mean you will now allow permission to visit the final death upon those that brazenly disobey the wisdom of your rule?
Now, Zone, we don't need to resort to crimson. Keep it at a light saffron, if you will.
Oh, they deserve more than that. They deserve the final death for this, shall we say, violation. What do you think, Lucia?
I think that maybe before you give them that mercy, I have a few things I'd like to try.
What, my darling?
Oh, just a few things I've been working on. See how effective they are.
You know, if you need funding for your experiments, all you have to do is ask.
This blood sorcery is blasphemy.
Okay.
You say that until you need it.
Order. We are talking about war. We are. And war is, what is war? Is it a means to an end outside of itself? Or is war the end within itself?
War is a painting, my apologies.
No, go ahead, my darling.
War is a painting that has yet been filled in. We have the means to choose the colors as we want to. The question is, do we want to make it vigorous and filled with wrath, or do we want to be meticulous and let it speak for itself, or do we want to let it be and see how it plays out? We have different avenues for said painting. Just depends on what paint you want.
I think it should be the darkest of reds. After all, they cause this violation, not us. And we can do both. We can use every hue, every shade of red until we paint the floors and the wall with their blood and give them the final death.
May I speak freely, my prince? Confession is good for the soul, after all.
Of course, Hazoon. I always appreciate your input.
You others, you see things, but only a fraction of a shadow. You Ventru think you can buy everything. You Tremere think you can dissect everything. Toreador think you can make the world a beautiful place, but we La Sombra understand the truth of things, and we La Sombra chose the tower for its strength and stability. We cannot let word spread that we hesitate in the face of unruly children and thin bloods. I myself would be willing to deliver them to you, Prince Bastion. You only need but give me permission.
And I will join Hazoon in this.
Oh, this could be delightfully fun.
I may see the world in color, but don't forget who I am and what I look like. I don't mind shedding a little bit of blood when I need to.
I couldn't tell by your pretty words.
You know, the prettiest words are still sharp.
Oh, believe me, I know.
As is the most poisonous viper.
Regardless of what color we're painting this particular mosaic, I would prefer if we do it quickly. That way it's a little less expensive.
I see. Well, war must not be an end within itself because of the politic involved. War cannot be war for its own sake. Why do we fight the Anarchs? We fight them because they violate the traditions, but also we fight them because they threaten the livelihood and existence of all kindred by exposure to the Second Inquisition. We must make a move. Anarchs know not what they do. You see, they are stuck in their caves, watching the shadows on the wall, and it is our job to bring the light to them. And I think we can do that through discipline and example. So perhaps no, not a final death, but maybe something else. Alaric, forgive me, was that well put or was it gauche?
Your words are like butter, my prince. But not like the plain, morbid butter, like a canary color. I liked it.
Thank you, my darling. Yes, I'm not prince because I'm beautiful, although I am. Well, have we heard from the Lupines?
The last I heard is the sheriff was pursuing that matter. Sheriff Bowen Rico was attempting to establish negotiations with them. I have eyes on a few suspected locations, but of course, even my spies hesitate to venture too close to the animals.
It's probably best that we stay out of Stanley Park.
Now, do we want to actually, continue or try again with this connection with them? Or is that just for fun, for play? That's something we actually want to pursue.
Lucia, their blood is powerful. Were you able to gain access to some I'm sure you could perform all manners of abominations.
What did I tell you? We're heretics until you need us. I wouldn't mind getting my hands on some and seeing how some of my more unique, newer experiments might affect the puppies.
Do you have any more insight into those creatures from the rock shop? Those things that were like sad approximations of the Zamichi's flesh crafting, but something other.
Oh, it's just too ugly. I can't.
Why would you even begin to mention such a thing?
Because I apologize if it doesn't fit your aesthetic to have ugly creatures attacking our domain.
Let us not be distracted. Let us not be distracted by aesthetic or beauty or such things. My prince, what is it you wish us to do, and what do you give us leave for in your name?
Thank you, Sienna. Well, there is one rule that I need to establish now. I mean, it's just something I need to make very, very clear. You see, you may tell this to you and your own, but if I catch anyone's progeny on the side of the Anox, I will have their head. No, worse. I will do worse. Is that clear?
As the traditions dictate, my prince, yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you. These Anox, where do they do business?
Sienna, I'm so sorry. I keep.
No, it's okay, Lyric. I'm just confused.
I'm just wondering if Sienna, if your contacts have heard anything about the Anox or about the wolves or anything.
The wolves, no, but the Anarchs, yes. We've been keeping an eye on them. They seem to frequent places that mortals like to gather, but in the wee hours. Often they just mill about looking to feed, and they don't seem to be too interested in what's happening, but that could just be a ruse as well. I can send out people to look for wolves as well, if my prince would like it.
That would be divine, Sienna. Thank you.
As you will.
I would like a connection with the Lupines. Lucia, these underground late-night clubs and establishments that they are gathering at, is that something you might be able to scope out?
I can certainly see what I can do. It's never difficult for me to gain the trust of those who frequent such establishments.
You might be able to make it look like there was some sort of accident at one of those places. Perhaps shut it down, expose it for what it is. Not expose the kindred, of course, but make it look like a human error.
Oh, I think you've just given me an idea. Oh, and they are so full of interesting ways that they kill each other. It would be very easy.
I know you could think of something. You tend to make blood boil.
But it's so fun.
You know, I'm surprised you aren't a toreador, Lucia. You and that song that you have.
Unfortunately, it seems that not too many people listen for very long. Can't imagine why.
I would say...
No, that was my fault. Please continue.
Nope, you know, all color has a shadow. Go for it.
Storyteller, I have 6 with a crit on Streetwise to see if I have any leads on what the Anarchs are up to.
You would, in fact. They have taken the Surrey pretty much all of Surrey is under their control, and they are expanding outward towards the downtown core area. And they seem to have stopped infighting, and they've united all under one particular banner, but you're not quite sure what that banner is yet.
My prince, it seems these sheep have been gathered by a very specific shepherd. Perhaps if they could be located, they could be struck down. Apologies, my prince. I inadvertently dropped my Stygian shroud all over the Elysium.
Good job.
That doesn't happen to me usually. It's been a long week. I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
You guys made me ink.
Oh no.
Anyway.
Back to the prince and what we were doing.
That's me.
Yes.
Yes, what you wanted us to do. Oh, the striking the shepherd. That's what it was. I said that they had been brought together under a single person. Perhaps if we can locate them, they can be removed.
That sounds divine. Do we know anything about this poor, unfortunate kindred?
Unfortunately, nothing on my side, your prince. To be fair, we're probably looking at ourselves versus looking out. Something I have been speaking to my clan about. But I will make sure we continue to search.
And it's at this point that a knock is heard on the door that separates the Primogen Council room from the rest of the Elysium.
Can I ask one of my ghouls to get it? Are one of my ghouls in the room?
Yeah, one of them would be in there, and he would rush up like, yes.
Ralph, see who's at the door.
Oh, yes, ma'am. And he scurries off, and he opens the door, and standing there is Cuthbert Beckett.
Friend Prince and esteemed Primogen, my apologies for interrupting a meeting already in process, but I would be remiss, why not, to announce my arrival in your city for my brief stay, and as such, here I am.
Come on in. I appreciate your I appreciate you being here.
And the ghoul holds the door open and ushers Beckett in awkwardly.
I stand
what brings you here? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I stand and I just say, Cuthbert Beckett, the blessings of the Dark Father upon you. Your stories are legend. Your reading in your journal, fascinating.
Well, I appreciate that you have an interest in things more ancient.
I am Hazoon, Primogen of Clan La Sombra.
Pleasure, I'm sure.
And then I sit back down.
You see Alaric. He hasn't stood yet, though he probably should. Though he's probably a little more comfortable with the prince being here, even though the situation's at hand. And he just, forgive me if this may seem a little forward, but I don't consider many as pale as you so beautiful. It is an honor to meet you, Alaric, Primogen of Clan Toreador.
I could tell by your exuberant outfit which clan you represented.
Nods and just kind of sits back a little more now, like.
Sienna raises and gives him a very respectful bow. Sienna Fouché of Clan Brujah, pleasure to meet you. The tales of your doings precede you, and it is an honor.
No, I apologize if my business here is rather paltry and academic, but I do wish it to not be an assault upon the age-old rules of entering one's domain.
At the mention of academic, Lucia, who has been writing in a book since he walked in, stands up. Academic. Lucia Kovalenia. Tremere. What academic?
Lest you are as perhaps not as learned as your compatriots here, I think you know quite well the academia, if the word is to be used, that I myself specialize in. So, let's just say the rabbit hole has continuously gone in one direction.
Business. And Victor Davenport stands up a little bit, gives a bit of a nod. What is your business?
Well, with such unease far to the east, and various dangers growing in the Gehenna War, I find it best to be informed. Now, I have my consults, I have my information, and once I find information that is of import to the fine denizens of this Elysium, I'll be more than happy to publish and share as I have previous endeavors. But at the time being, I prefer to keep my interests close to the chest, as I take no ill to you in your warm welcome. I find it is best to move at my own speed.
I'm sorry, Beckett, you caught me off guard. You've come to our fine city in a time of crisis. There is much to be wary of. The anarchs here are quite dangerous, and they're getting a little wild.
Well, I appreciate the warning. I guess I should ask, whereabouts do you find the anarchs are mostly active within your domain?
Well, they have just taken Surrey, actually. And I'm sorry if you were going to spend time in Surrey, but it's dangerous. And not only have they taken that area, but they have destroyed some very important property, mostly artwork that me and Ali are fans of, the fountain in Bear Creek Park.
Oh, the destruction of modern art. How dreadful.
Well, you see, it is a rule that I've established in my domain that one must not destroy art.
Good to know. I assure you, no such creations shall undergo any sort of untoward destiny in my presence.
I believe the silence is upon you, who's on, aka you're muted. While he's fighting with that, I did I did have a wonder. You said you have your own reasons for being here, but have you been traveling for a while, or is this stop number one, or just
This
trying
is
to figure out some stuff?
Stop number 3643. Traveling is something I do quite often. As you know, my interests span most of our history. And today they bring me to your fair city. Let that be a bit of grace to the impact that it seems your town has had on our lineage.
Yes, and with respect, Mr. Beckett, the prince, in her wisdom and strength, has matters well at hand. She has chosen to extend mercy to these anarchs, which is why they have not been completely crushed.
I have not said that I would extend mercy to the anarchs. I said that they could learn from something worse than a final death.
My prince, I apologize. I just did not want Mr. Beckett to think we had an anarch problem in Vancouver. You have it well at hand.
I do have it well at hand. It almost sounded like you wanted him to think otherwise.
Nothing could be farther from the truth, my prince.
I see.
Oh, no. I'm seeing a little green from you who's on, but just
No.
that to myself.
Now, Alaric, there is no green or any other color here to be seen. Forgive us, Mr. Beckett. There's a bit of dissension among us, as always when you get a bunch of primogen together.
Oh,
but
we don't expect as such, do not worry.
Well, as our good prince has given us leave to take care of the problem, we hope that we can all work together to take care of these anarchs and send them on their merry way and make them realize that this is not a place that they should linger and take back Surrey.
Well, most of them.
Well, Lucia, I know that you will have things well in hand and make them sorry for what they've done.
Eventually they'll be sorry.
Perhaps they should head south. I hear they couch foolishness down to that way in California in their anarch-free state.
It seems that the fine prince and the wondrous council around me has matters well in control. So I will take these warnings to heart and hopefully be of no detriment to your business in my brief interlude within your domain. And should I come across any of these difficult anarchs, well, I will do my best not to work against your will either.
Thank you, Beckett. I do believe that your judgment of situations like this, it's probably fine. You do as you need. Contact me and keep in touch with me along the way. In fact, while you're here, why not take in a show? I happen to be the shadow curator at the Contemporary Art Gallery. I'm sure we have some pieces there you would enjoy, including some of Ali's. Finest painter.
Greatly appreciate the offer. My time is short, and my patience for creative endeavors is wire thin. But once again, appreciated.
I would slide one of my cards across the table, and I'm like, I might offer you sanctuary at any of our holy establishments or anything else that you might require while you are gracing our city with your presence.
Beckett deftly retrieves the card, looks it over, and just gives a nod over towards Huzun. Friends, Lucia, Sienna, Huzun, Alaric, Prince, and I'm sorry, remind me your name. You've been rather quiet.
It's Victor Davenport.
Victor Davenport, yes. A name that shall echo through the annals of history, I'm sure. I will take my leave. Good night to you all, and stay safe in such trying times.
I do hope we see you again.
Not too soon, I hope.
You and me both.
We'll see him soon enough, I'm sure. Pleasure meeting you, Beckett.
Pleasure is
Enjoy
mine.
yourself in our city.
Well, good night. And he turns and exits back from the way he came.
And as Beckett leaves the Elysium out through the main doors of the Vancouver Art Gallery, he walks down one of the streets that are nearby and he hears a familiar voice.
Pathetico. You waste your time with the Camarilla when you know where to go look.
And it's at that point we're going to end the scene.